Episode 8, go! And stand by Nicoletta, please. Well, welcome back. So, I meant to put my gloves on because you all like my gloves. I've been told you like my gloves. Now, I did record something earlier, but actually it was really tedious. So I've done a few more bits during that recording, but I couldn't put it to you. So you'll see that I've done a few more bits up here, making sure they're still on camera, because I know you're all getting a bit worried that the jigsaw is going to be off camera, but I'm going to at some point have to go and bring the camera out. But at the moment, I'm so far beyond that moment that I really wouldn't worry. Just to remind you, here we go. So that yellow bit is, I reckon, here. And I think I've got, what's the other bit I think I've got? Oh, I don't know. Can't even see what bits I've got. It's so complicated. Oh, well, anyway, we know we've got the yellow started. We should all be feeling mildly triumphant about that. Right, well, I hope you're all well. I hope that nobody's coughing. I hope that nobody's poorly. Okay, first things first. I cut my own fringe. Not going to say too much about it. My dear friend Maz did try and advise me the other day, actually. She said to me, Ju, I said I've got to cut my own fringe. It's ridiculous. I can't see out. She said, right, get a pair of proper scissors, like cutting scissors, like hairdresser scissors. Right, first of all, I didn't get that. I got the kitchen scissors that cuts bits of bacon, bits of plastic, anything. So I ignored her advice on that one. Then she said, Ju, make sure that you cut it longer than you intend. Oh, I've got this bit stuck now. Longer than you intend to, because you can always cut it again. Turns out I didn't do that either. So fortunately for me, you can only see my hands. I'm aware that the relief is that you can only see my hands, because if you saw my fringe, you'd think I'd have some sort of nervous breakdown. Corner bit. Where's he been all our lives? Corner bit. So yeah, cut my own fringe. Didn't take any advice. Oh, she did try to advise me, and I thought, I haven't got time. I haven't got time to wait for a delivery of scissors. Where do you even get them from, apart from, well, everything's from Amazon at the moment, isn't it? Anyway, so I look like a half-wit. Actually, my hair looks a bit like a page boy cut. I don't know if any of you remember page boy cuts, but I look like that. It's gone totally scoopy. Matt said it looks like I'm wearing some sort of Roman helmet, which is nice. I can only assume he meant that in a derogatory way. Now, I know that my jigsaw technique, I'm getting a lot of phone calls about this. I'm getting a lot of phone calls about my technique, and I grant you it's a bit rubbish. And I also know that I sometimes have to step away from the microphone. So, because this is so homemade, the setup you can only imagine here, we're going to have to wing it a bit, everyone. And I know that you're not here, and I know that the live episode you're all gagging for, so you can shout at me. Left a bit, right a bit, there's a bit. And that's they tend to be most of the phone calls I get about my jigsaw technique. No one seems to care about what I'm particularly talking about. That is a sort of an irrelevance, a secondary. But my technique is driving people up the wall. I spoke to my friend Zoe today, and she said, you're not a natural jigsaw, are you? And I said, well, I do love them, which is why I'm doing it. But she was laughing. She was a bit surprised that I actually do jigsaws. But I said, I don't normally do them like this, obviously. I don't lean over to the side a bit, try and avoid any contact with the camera, and chat about all sorts. So, but it's my total choice. I'm not complaining. I've made this decision to do something to keep mad people I work with and my very dear friends amused in this very curious time. And it's probably only about 8 of you that are actually listening anyway, so who cares? Now, Nan, people ask me, how did Nan's trip to the bottle bank go with her bon maman bitter Seville marmalade jam go? Marmalade. How did the bottle bank trip work? Well, she got there, she put them in the recycling bin, and she came home again, and that was it. That was the end. So thank you for asking. She was all good. What is horrific, though, is that she asked me to do the lotto the other day for her. She said, oh, Jo, I'm feeling lucky. I can't remember if I've told you this or not, so forgive me if you've heard this, go and make a cup of tea. But she said, Jo, go and make, could you do the lottery? She gave me specific numbers, right? because she can't go to the shops or anything, she knows that I do it online, and she likes a bit of paper normally. She's obsessed by a bit of paper. She's obsessed by going to, she books holidays at the TUI shop. The TUI girls in there just can't believe it. They are so excited anyone comes in the shop. Well, not now, but traditionally my mum is the one that goes there and talks and goes through all the brochures. She actually flicks through brochures and stuff, whereas most people tend to do it online. But mum loves a bit of paper. She likes to have these bits of paper printed out, like her boarding passes and all the information. She has every single note that they've sent her. Every single note that they've sent her, she carries with her. She prints it out. Well, I do, because she hasn't got a printer. She gave that away. And then what she does is she carries it on holiday. She carries it all the way around holiday. She doesn't ever get them out of her bag. Nobody at checking wants to see her bits of paper. No one cares, but she feels better for it. So that's good. But what is awful? So she said, right, can you do the lotto for me? I'm feeling really lucky. I feel it. So she gave me very specific numbers, right? She gave me the numbers she wants me to put on for her. And I said, yeah, I'll do that. I'll absolutely do that. And turns out I didn't. I got distracted. And I didn't do it. So I was worrying the whole night. I was freaking out, thinking, oh my God, what if tonight the lotto numbers come up in Mum's favour? Like, it's millions. And I didn't put it on. How can I say to my mum? Because she'll have the numbers written down, so she knows what she told me. What if the numbers come up tonight and I haven't done it? I felt physically sick. I didn't want to look at the numbers, but I had to look at the numbers to check, because I thought, if I say to Mum, she rings me and says, oh my God, Ju, how brilliant, they're my numbers. And I go, yeah, well, I've got something to tell you that. I think I'd just have to disconnect my phone. I'd have to leave, or just go somewhere. I couldn't let her down like that. And I certainly haven't got millions to give her to even pretend that that's okay. I mean, I'm furloughed at the moment, and I'll tell you what, it's not going to be worth me giving that over to her, what we're getting for that. Why is it saying disconnect? Anyway, I wonder how much of that's just filmed, actually. Who knows? Anyway, so yes, so I basically put a big white lie in, and if she's listening to this, which she might not be, it might be the first time she's heard it, but I said to her, look, it's so busy, the website, that it's just not letting me on, so I'm really sorry. So we'll do it another day, but I just can't get on. But I couldn't bear to say to her, it'd gone 7:30, and I hadn't done it. So much to my relief, the numbers weren't in her favour anyway, thank God. She has phoned though, because Bethany's brilliant. She goes up to Morrison's for Mum, and she gets all her bits and bobs. Well, I say bits and bobs. She gets quite a full list of things, and but she's just rang me. She went, oh, she said Dennis is getting Waitrose deliveries from Mike and Tracy. I'm getting jealous. He's got a sweet and sour from Waitrose. I'm getting jealous. Would you go for me? So after this recording, in a nutshell, I have to go to Waitrose to collect, because my mum sounded so tragic. She sounded like if you'd kicked a puppy. She sounded like that. So I'm going to Waitrose to go and get her. I hope they've got it. Her items, but mainly because she's got delivery envy, because clearly they're better kids than Tracy and Mike have clearly smashed it. Waitrose did, and I'm doing Morrison's. Hang on, I'm just having a slurp of tea. Beg your pardon. Give me 1 second. So yeah, that's right. So I can't be too late on it. I mustn't overrun. Because I've got to do a chicken and mushroom risotto as well for the fam. Anyway, what else has happened? Yeah, so I've had loads of emails, which is excellent, and it's quite fun because then I can actually talk about them and retort. So the first email is from Mark, who is Mr. Apron, Mr. Itchy Bits behind his apron. He's from Dublin, actually. I don't know if you know that fact, but he's Irish, and he runs a cafe with his German wife Karen, whose accent I think you will all agree I nailed it yesterday. Anyway, so he's emailed to say this. Oh, I just thought that was a bit to go in there, but I think I might try that before. No, it doesn't work. He has said, do you know, Ju, or dearest Ju, or obviously all the common curses at the beginning. Did you know that my double step, because he does a double stamp when he's dancing, he does that. He does a double step stamp, and it's like infamous. everyone knows it. Every party we've been to, when he has a few shandies, it goes off and he goes into a double stamp, and then you know the evening is completely, he's out there then, right? He's just said, do you know that the double stamp that I do during my dancing is actually deemed a fertility dance in Dublin, and I could, had you not had the menopause, I could actually make you pregnant being in the same room. Now, I didn't know that. I just thought it was some drunken crazy dance that you think is good, but actually I didn't realise it was actually some sort of ritual. It actually means something. And funnily enough, I found out I was pregnant with Bethany when I was in Dublin, but I wasn't there before, so I don't remember you. But Karen must be maybe that's why Karen, if he goes to a party, you don't mind him being there, because you can just chat to your friends and he's sort of doing his fertility dance all on the dance floor, and you're just relieved it's not near you. But it's good to know, because if you do go to Dublin, anyone, and they do that double, and he also gurns, he does a double stamp, he spins round, and then while he's doing it, he's sort of gurning. He's sort of doing a gurney grin at you. But now I understand it's all part of the ritual. So thanks for that, Mark. It's important to know. Soha, a lovely girl we work with in all over the place. She is in Lebanon. She's emailed, and she said, "Did you?" Again, common courtesies, politeness, and stuff. She said, "I really admire all the accents you're doing and all the languages you're doing. Do you know that I actually speak 48 languages and was the Olympic ski champion of Lebanon, and I've also given birth to a really beautiful child?" Yes, I do. And the problem is, it's really, I do try to really dislike you so hard, because you are beautiful. You speak about, well, you say 48, I think it's more languages, as if you were native. It's not like me. I mean, I know that my language is extraordinary with the German and the Mexican and stuff, but the way that you speak Arabic, I can't compete on the Arabic at the moment. I'm going to try. But yeah, and the ski champion, I know, but I do try and tell everyone, look, don't go and speak to Soha, because yeah, she's nice, she's intelligent, she's clever, she's beautiful, she's healthy, and she makes her own cider, but she'll make you feel, just walking away, you just feel like, you feel a bit low inside, because everything you try for that is pointless. So if you do meet Soha, I mean, I just wouldn't spend too much time with her. What about, oh yeah, Liz has emailed. June, please tell everybody the hilarious story where we went to work with Smurfs in Dubai and I watched a film on the plane. Right, this is a great story. Well, it's not a story, it's a truth, actually. So we were going to work over opening up something called Dubai Parks and Resorts, like a theme park over in Dubai. And Liz and I fly quite a lot together, and we watch different films, obviously, and I look across at what Liz is watching, she looks at what I'm watching, and sometimes it happened to be the same. I mean, one time I was on the plane with her and she was watching Leonardo DiCaprio, that film where he's, well, from what I could see, we flew for 6 hours, Liz? And for 6 of those hours you were watching it and it looked like he was just dragging himself through mud. Oh, what's the name of the film? I think he lives inside a bear or something. I can't remember the name of it. It was, well, A, it was long, and B, it just looked really, really miserable. And I like programmes about misery. I like injustices in the Americas, and I like all that stuff on death row. But watching Leonardo drag himself through filthy mud with a horrible beard, well, I wouldn't have thought it was Liz's cup of tea anyway. Anyway, we got off at Dubai this particular time, and I don't think I was sitting near Liz, and I got off and she was a bit perturbed. She wasn't herself. And I said, Liz, what's the matter? She said, oh, I've just realised. She said, I've watched Carol on the plane, the film Carol. And I said, right, what's your point? She said, well, we're in Dubai, aren't we? We're in the Middle East, and I've just watched Carol on the plane. Now, I've not seen Carol, but I know about Carol, and I know it's about lesbians. So I said, well, and I started laughing because oh no, I thought that wasn't lesbian. It is. I started laughing because I suddenly realised that she was genuinely freaking out. Genuinely worried about watching this film Carol on the plane. So that, unfortunately, she was with the wrong person, because rather than being understanding, I knew that this again was an excellent anecdote. I tried to help her by saying, look, but I said to her, but we're on an Emirates flight, and Emirates have put it on, so they're not going to put something on that then you duly get you get arrested for. Anyway, I couldn't calm her down. So we got through immigration. She was so relieved to get through immigration. It's funny enough, no one at immigration cared she'd watched Carol or knew her seat number or well, of course they didn't. Anyway, so we got through immigration, and on the way back after the event, which I have to tell you, if you ever want to know how long you can be dressed as a Smurf, or you want to be dressed as a penguin, legally and oxygen-wise, or if you need to be dressed as Shrek for any time, Liz is the person. If you have any issues about... Oh, look. Hello, Bethany.
Hello.
Hello, mate. All right.
Yeah.
You come to do some edges?
I can do.
Well, yeah, they're all edges here now, but you were trying to put them together. So I'm just talking about Liz for a change.
Okay.
So if you need to understand how long you can be a Smurf and stuff, Liz is the person, because she was very diligent, and because she's such a good stage manager, she generally cared. Whereas I was just laughing the whole time because I was queuing on. I had to queue penguins on, I had to queue Smurfs on, and we had a guy understage called Bingo. His crew name, his actual name was called Bingo. So I had to say, stand by Bingo, Bingo go. And the whole joy of that, it didn't diminish. The whole event, the joy of queuing Bingo was wonderful. So Liz is, that's very kind of you, Liz, to mention that. Also, while we're talking about the Middle East, I've had an email from Nadine, who's in Dubai. Hello, Nadine. Thank you for emailing. So I'll give you a few bits, Beth, and I can give you a few little bit of colourways. Are you still in camera there? Do it about there. Right. Beautiful. So Nadine has messaged to say, do you like my head wrap that I've had done with Svenny's face all over it? Well, it's going to be interesting to see how many outfits you can fit that with. But no, I like he will love it. He will love that you've gone to the effort of having his face put all over your headscarf for your full turban. And she also said, would you...
Face in it, am I?
God, no. No, you're right. Just your hands. Right, just your hands. You can put that towards you. You put it towards you if you need to, but just you're fine. So also, Nadine, you've also said, if you ever need me to look after any of your birds, please, or if any of your friends are in the Middle East, I should read this properly. If any of your friends or you are in the Middle East and you need any birds looking after, I'm ready. Now, Nadine, so this is interesting that you offer this service, because we came to dinner with you as a group, and when we started the dinner, you had 3 birds. You had a baby parrot, and you had 2 budgies. We asked the next day how they were, and you said you had 1 budgie left because the others had died. So it's a very kind offer, but I think we're going to say no to that, because I don't think you can be trusted. Wayne and Wendy have emailed from Australia. I'll say it in Australia. Wait, you know who Wayne and we speak every Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Don't, like, your breasts and that mic stand. It's dangerous, right?
So
I have to speak in Australian for this, Beth, because Wayne and Wendy have messaged, and they're up north in Australia, and they can't understand a bloody word I'm saying. Now, I'm going to see if I can get subtitles on, but this is also funny because every Friday we Zoom them with Darren, and it turns out that his mum and dad just smile politely at us because they don't know what we're talking about. They don't understand our language. It's too fast. It's too Essex. But it's nice because we've been doing it for 4 weeks now, and it's only now that they've emailed to say, basically they smile and wave. But I will try and get Australian subtitles on so you can understand, because it seems a pointless exercise. Who else has emailed? Oh, Matt at Hove. So Matt at Hove messaged. He said he woke up at 5. Again, common courtesy, all the niceness, all that. Hello, good afternoon, la la la. Just to tell us all that he woke up at 5 again this morning, and he started again, and he watched Barbara Cook shows. And he said, do you remember us going to see Barbara Cook? Well, of course I do, because I was working in a show at the West End at the time, Miss Saigon, and we went to see it, and we went afterwards, a few of us, and I didn't know who Barbara Cook was, but I knew she was a showbiz American lovey, and I was up for it. I like a night out. So we went to the theatre. I sat down with Matt, and then, upon entering look, that one, cheeky.
Who's that? Oh,
well, it's wrong. It's wrong. Upon entering the auditorium, Matt started holding on to me quite a lot. I don't think that's right, is it? No. He started gripping onto me, like holding on to me, like really hurting my arm actually. And then we got to our seats and he was sort of starting to well up a bit, as were a couple of other people around us. I didn't know what was going on. And anyway, the curtain goes up, Matt bursts into tears, like openly wet, openly crying, because he was so excited to see Barbara Cook, who looked like a human miracle. There were so many sparkles on her. I mean, every time she turned round, and you needed your glasses on, because she was emitting so much light, like NASA would have found her. And Matt, I can't even believe, Matt, that you actually enjoyed the show because you were openly sobbing. But that was worth the money, wasn't it? So yes, I do remember that, and I also remember the time that we went to, I think, was it Cafe Royale with Svenny for afternoon tea or something. A couple of us went.
That.
You don't, because you weren't in ball bag.
Oh,
so,
I do remember going somewhere with them for afternoon tea though.
Yeah, brilliant. When you do remember where that was and when that was, then maybe that's a great story. But saying you remember it when you weren't even born, and I don't even think Dad and I were married.
No, I remember the name.
Brilliant.
I know the name.
So Bethany remembers the name, which Anyway, let's move on. So we went to
make a cup of tea.
Well, that was a quick. Oh, thank you very much.
I helped a little
You
bit.
did help a little bit. I'll come on. We're making risotto for tea, so I'll come and do that in a minute. Because then I've got to go to Waitrose to get Nanny's selection.
That's what I came in for, actually.
Okay. See you later. Love you.
Love you.
See you in a minute.
Bye, guys.
So, she's getting quite used to this, isn't she? Talking to her audience like that. Good girl. Trained you well. So we went to Cafe Royale and we had a lovely afternoon. Oh God, we saw some other showbiz legend. I didn't understand. And as we were leaving, my bag, I nipped to Ludes before we were leaving. And as we were leaving, my bag was so heavy. I thought, my God, what's that? And Svenny had put in a Cafe Royale teapot, sugar bowl, milk jug, cutlery, everything. And it was clanking around. And so I got to the door and realised, and then I had to go back and put it all back, like get it ceremoniously out of my bag. Obviously, they were floored by this point, found it the funniest thing ever. But yeah, so I nearly stole quite a lot of stuff from there. That was a Svenny special, that was. Who else has emailed? Matt. Oh, Claire emailed asking me whether I was interested in relating the story about me when I was working at the palace, talking to one of the Queen's ladies in waiting about my labia. Now, Claire, I don't remember this story. You clearly do. So I'm going to have to ask you to elaborate on that. Or whether I want you to, I don't know. But that's something literally I can't remember, which worries me more, because obviously it was quite a big, it was probably erroneous. Well, it was undoubtedly erroneous. And did it go down well, Liz? Claire, I don't know. Did it? Oh, well, I clearly worked there again, so I don't know. But I wasn't blocked, I wasn't barred. But so I'm gonna follow that up, Claire, because that's made me laugh even. I'm now in a bit of a worry as to what I said. Who else has emailed? Claire. Oh yeah, Catherine. She's Mark's sister. Obviously Irish too. She's emailed to say that she enjoys my downward dog when we go to. I mentioned in a couple of one episode about how Catherine has to look at my downward dog when we go to yoga because I can't be on the same level as her because I chat to her. I will chat to her and Tracy. So she doesn't mind that apparently, which I thought was very sweet. But what she has said is, do you remember the time when you drove us out for the evening and I was so drunk, you stopped the car, opened the door, I was sick out of it and we carried on? Yes, I do. I remember it as clear as day because it's something like that you can't really forget, can you, Catherine? But you seem to have a nice night. Right, Hillary in Vancouver. Oh, last week, cheeks. Or what do we say? I can't even think of a hello. I can't even do an Indigenous one. Anyway, hi. So Hillary's emailed to tell us because her mum lives on Vancouver Island and her mum's house is made of gingerbread, which they've glazed and made it completely solid. So it's incredible. It looks like, it looks like a proper Red Riding Hood's house. It's in Vancouver because they made all the gingerbread themselves as well because they're such prolific bakers over there. They made the house years ago out of gingerbread and it's sort of famous over there and everything. But her mum lives in it. But she's just emailed to say that terrifyingly overnight something's been in and they obviously had a bit of a break in the glaze and something's eaten the stairs in her mum's house. So the gingerbread house has got no stairs. So it's sort of a gingerbread bungalow now. But I'll ring you about that because your mum must be really stressed. I mean, was she upstairs? How does she get down? Are you going to have to make more gingerbread? I'm going to have some tea because thinking about gingerbread makes me want to drink my tea. Hang on. So that's quite a shocking story from Vancouver Island. But I suppose if you make a house out of gingerbread, I mean, it's lucky it's been there that long. The risks involved, I mean, you'd imagine rats, but I think you did say you glazed it heavily. So you wouldn't necessarily, you know, animals wouldn't necessarily know the smell. But I still think it's incredible that your mum lives in a house made of gingerbread that you and your sisters baked. Who else has emailed? Oh, yeah. So Mark of Lewis has emailed. And he said, Jude, do you remember the time when you were at Saigon with us and I took you out for the evening after work? Yes, I do, Mark. And it's really pleasing that you've reminded me because... So, I wasn't used to West End. I'd worked up in Scotland, as you might have heard, making excellent moves in Scottish opera, making myself really proud. Anyway, so I came down to work in London, West End. Nobody particularly wanted to work in it, but it was a nice group of people I met, so I did it. And Mark said, yeah, so he said after work on a Tuesday, a load of us, we get together and we go to a spa. And I thought, how lovely. I thought, treatments and all of that, how lovely. I was really up for that. So I said, great. So the next Tuesday they were going, I said, yeah, I'm coming. I told Matt, because we were living together at the time, I said, I'm going to a spa. It's what everybody in the West End does. They go to a spa. He said, fine. If that's what they do, if that's what you have to do to blend in and to be part of the gang, you do it, Jude. You go enjoy. Anyway, packed my little bag, did the show, and then went to stage door, met Mark as we said, and off we went. And I was expecting sort of a Champneys thing, like a proper spa where you have treatments and there might be someone on a swing over the swimming pool. That sort, like really lovely fluffy dressing gowns and people, that sort of feel. I thought that would be nice after a show anyway. And anyway, the taxi was going and it pulled up really bizarrely on Kentish Town High Road, which I wasn't expecting. And we got out of the taxi. Are we here? And he went, yeah. Anyway, so we got there and basically Mark had to knock on this. The window had like a fluorescent plastic flowers and a purple fluorescent bulb flickering. Thought, oh my God. Anyway, he had to knock 3 times on the door like that, and then a little window opened like that, and a pair of eyes appeared, and Mark gave a thumbs up, she gave a thumbs up, and we were let in, and we went into this. So we went in, but it was really tiny. So I had to go to the right, which where the girls got changed, and he went to the right. He went to the left, where the boys got changed. So I went and put my Speedo swimming costume, as you would, because you're going to a spa. And I came out with my... It was absolutely minuscule, the change room. Really wasn't what I was thinking. Anyway, I came out and everybody was naked. There was not one person clothed, not even the person behind the bar serving the tuna sandwiches. Everybody sitting on these bar stools, totes naked, like those leatherette seats, shoving in... Well, they definitely didn't have a health and hygiene certificate in those days anyway. It didn't even exist. But certainly, if the food safety people, what they called environmental health, were going around to that place now, there's just no way they'd have a 5 on their little tick list of this place has 5-star rate. No way. Anyway, they were sitting at the bar, saw everyone quite casually, and I was laughing because in my Speedo thing, I might as well have walked in fully clothed. I looked like I could have worn an anorak, might as well have. Anyway, so we got in there, and everybody, when you're naked in these places, they all sit splayed. Everybody sits agape. Nobody just sits like a normal person, like you do around the house. They all sit on the edge of pieces, totally, spread. Interloper. And I was laughing because, again, I get stuck in so many anecdotes by accident. I knew, so it's really sweet of you to remind me, Mark. Anyway, so we were in there, and I went into the steam room thinking, I'll just go in there, and there was a mad guy, like literally rocking backwards and forwards, shaving his head, and then he was shaving his face, but not like a beard, just shaving his face. So I left there pretty quick. Then I went into the jacuzzi where Mark and Nigel were. Now Nigel and Mark were on the raised bit. I just got in there. I regret that now because, of course, I was at eye level with Mark and Nigel talking about issues of Bector and stuff, which is the trade union for technicians, and just sitting there totally agape, but really casual. Like it was me that had the problem because I was just so surprised. Nobody else had a problem in there. They all thought it was like, they just laughed. It made I had all these rings on and stuff, and it made all of them go like this weird green. God knows what was in all the... But in the jacuzzi there were these 3 Japanese businessmen just looking weird and staring at me. probably like, why are you in our jacuzzi? But it was, I ended up spending time there till about 2 in the morning. I did not touch the tuna sandwiches. I'm telling you that for nothing. But the next day, of course, and I couldn't say anything, like laugh like Beavis and Butthead used to laugh, kind of, oh, you're all naked. I had to be really cool about it. So at work the next day, I just had to go, we went to the spa, it was nice. Because I had to be, because I was a new girl. I didn't know who to laugh with, because I thought, maybe everybody does that. And I'm just a prude. But it's one of those stories. So obviously gradually it came out and I chatted about it. But Mark, I really appreciate you messaging me about that. I'm even more grateful because now we talk about our vegetable patches, and my husband got potato envy and built me a potato box after seeing your... I mean, look how times have changed. 1 minute I'm looking at all your undergrowth, and now I'm talking about your garden. So thank you for messaging me about that. I did enjoy that night, and I've very much enjoyed you reminding me. There have been sightings of Helen's plum tree, but I think some of you are making it up, because some have seen it in Australia. Hang on, slurp of tea. Yeah, some of you are claiming to see it in Australia. Lies. Or it might not be. I mean, people do ship things, don't they? Cars. Cars could be stolen off. My neighbour had a Land Rover. He was sitting at his dinner, and a truck pulled up, a low loader pulled up, and took it off the drive with one of those big grab things, and then just drove off because he had those things up the front, gates, or things up the front, gates, and they stole it off the drive. So I suppose, Helen, your plum tree could be, I'm mocking, but in actual fact it could be anywhere in the world, so I beg your pardon. Australia, it's been sighted, it's Scotland, it's Germany, I mean everywhere. People have been messaging in with that. But I know that Gemma has escalated it to CID, and Gemma is not sleeping until that plum tree is found and the culprit's absolutely brought to justice. And I know, if anybody's worked with Gemma, she's like a machine. We love having Gemma on the team because she does it all. She's so cocking brilliant that we just go, oh, Gem can do that. Gem does everything, and then she's nearly got her accountancy stuff, so she can also do your accounts at the end of it. So Gem's on that house, so I wouldn't worry. What else? Who else has messaged in? Now. Actually, I better not do it, because every time I touch my phone, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do the call of the wood pigeon. I'm going to do the call of the ring-collar dove, and I'm going to call the call of the lollo. Now, these are the very distinct things that I love in my life. And I know that Liz absolutely loves the call of a wood pigeon and a ring-collared dove. So I'm going to do that tomorrow, but I'm going to have it on a separate thing, because I'm just worried that if I touch my phone, it's going to turn this off. So I'm not going to bother with that. But I did write a little note about that to remind myself, because I keep forgetting to do it. It's basically a pigeon that goes, but much nicer than that. I have got an email from Darren in Australia. Darren, who's Wayne and Wendy would messaged earlier. And he said, do you remember the time that I came to stay with you and I thought there was a tsunami? Yes, I do. Because it's just a classic story. But Darren, after we were working abroad, he came back with us after the event to stay with us, which was just heaven. And what was brilliant was, I live near Southend-on-Sea. I should tell you that in case I have paparazzi. But we live here, which is near Leigh-on-Sea. And I took him down there for a little ice cream and a saunter around Old Leigh. And suddenly he totally freaked out. Now, for those that don't know, I'm on an estuary, right? So, and it's the end of the Thames, so the tide goes in and out, okay? And anyway, it's all mud. So it's either mud or it's sea. And Laura, who's in Brighton, she doesn't believe the sea comes in, because every time she came down here over a selection of years, the tide was always out. So she didn't actually believe the sea ever came in. Anyway, it does. This particular time that I took Darren out for a little coffee and an ice cream, he started freaking out. Absolutely, literally dragging me up the hill of Old Leigh, screaming, getting everybody's attention, going, we've got to get out, it's a tsunami, we've got to get out, I see the signs. And I'm not lying, because I don't, but also it's true. He was freaking out, okay, and dragging me and passers-by and all of that, screaming like a hysterical child, but really high-pitched and very, very loud. I nearly had to slap him, but I didn't, because he's much taller than me, and I thought that's silly. Anyway, what it is because where he lives, obviously he's been told about tsunami warnings and stuff, and that the tide, before a tsunami, the tide goes way, way, way back, revealing only mud, and then a tsunami comes. But that's what he thought. He saw the mud with all the cockle boats stuck in the mud, and that was his immediate instinctive Australian way. He just freaked out, and he was dragging me and crying and all sorts. And I said, babe, it just means the tide's out. We're on the Thames estuary. It took a lot of calming down, and he eventually found the funny side, but I'd already found the funny side. I had already found the funny side, because there was nothing funnier than standing with, well, there was, I mean, I had to sort of avert people and just explain that he was Australian. But now he understands, don't you, Daz? But I think it's very kind of you again to alert everyone to that story. It was sweet. Tomorrow I'm going to have a picture. I have found the picture. Well, actually, I've been sent it. The picture of Nathan's tat. He wants you to see the real colour of him, because I think he's understanding that me describing it isn't anywhere near as exciting as seeing the real thing. So I'll have the picture of his tan tomorrow, which it'll be mostly. I've also got another couple of cracking stories about him. Actually, to be honest with you, I could fill the entire airtime with stories of experiences of being with Nathan on jobs, with the funny things that he says and does. So I might just, maybe we'll go live on that so people can call in. I'm going to finish though with one theatrical buffoonery that I did again, which you all seem to rather enjoy actually. Because I'm obviously, the thought that I worked at all is quite extraordinary. But when I was up in Scotland, my first sort of jobs, so I worked for the Citizens Theatre, then I went to Scottish Opera or ballet or whatever, and then I was back. And for the grant to keep Scottish ballet going, they did Highlands and Islands, these amazing, beautiful places in Scotland. And anyway, so it was my first job with them. I'd not worked with them all before. Really nice people, and a small company of dancers. We were dragging some dreadful version of Othello round the Highlands and Islands, but people would turn out or they wouldn't turn out. A slurp of tea, because it makes me panicky, this anecdote. And anyway, so basically the stages we were going to were tiny. And we were in this place called a caracal, which is absolutely minuscule. It's like you would drive past it, you didn't even realise it was a place. It was tiny. Anyway, we got all the stuff in, and sometimes the stages were so small. I had a big throne. It's always me in a throne, actually. But there was a throne, so you either set the throne downstage of the curtain if the stage was too tiny, or upstage if you had a bit more space, right? So the curtain's there, throne there, or up there. This place was so tiny the throne had to go downstage. But that's for another moment. So at the beginning of the show, my friend, Colin, who was the boss, said, Julia, can you go front of house in front of the curtain and say that there'll be a raffle and home bakes available in room 24 in the interval? I said, no, I can't. I can't go and do something that is so Victoria Wood. I can't go and announce a raffle. No, I'll laugh. I'm the worst person. But I can talk like this. But if I was actually seen doing this, I wouldn't be able to talk to you. So using my hands is completely fine, right? I said, I can't, Colin. I can't. I said, I know this is my first job and you're telling me to do it as my boss, but I can't. He said, God, you'll be fine. I'll hold the curtain open. Anyway, so he and a mate called Graham held the curtain open. I was dreading it. I've written it down. And I had to go downstage, and we weren't expecting anyone. We were expecting 20 people. 300 had turned up into this hall, right? And God knows where, because the place was so tiny. I suppose they came from high and low just to see any form of entertainment. And anyway, so I got downstairs and said, hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scottish Ballet's production of Othello. And in the interval, there'll be a selection of home bakes and a raffle in room 24. Now, I was so relieved I said it that I then said, I wanted to say, enjoy the show, right? In my head, I was saying, enjoy the show. But I said, have a good snog. Right? I said, have a good snog. I don't know why, but in front of 300 people in Scotland, in the middle of nowhere, I told them to all kiss each other. And all you could hear was, all the dancers behind me fell on the floor laughing. So I heard that upstage. Downstage, it went really quiet in the audience, and all you heard was, did she say snog? Did she say snog? Did she say snog? Did she say have a good snog? Did she? Anyway, it went round the audience. Like, she says, like a slithering. So I stood there. It felt like about 8 days. And then I tried to get off stage. I tried to get upstage through the curtain, but my friends, well, I say friends, evil friends. Well, it's not their fault, to be fair, because they laughed so much. They dropped the curtain, right? They you know the gap you come through the curtain. They dropped it because they were laughing so much. Him and Graham. So I couldn't get off. So I was like patting the curtain. Can I get? I said, get me off. I was like that, trying to get off. So I'm trapped on stage with everyone. She still snore. It was completely horrific. So I got up stage and I sat at the prompt desk where you do your queuing. And I put my head on the desk and I was going, Colin, I'm so sorry, Colin. I know it's my first job. If you need to sack me now. I'll go, just drop me off. And next time I'll just get home and stuff. That was freaking. Oh, hang on, Corey wants to get out. Yeah, Mum. Come on. You'll want to come back in a minute. Anyway, so he was laughing so much. We did the show. And then in the interval, I had to go and put... I had to go and see where the throne had to go. So I said, oh, Colin, I'll go and put the throne on. So I went downstage, like I mentioned, to put the throne down. And then I couldn't find the marks. So I went back through the curtain and said, Col, I can't find the marks. He said, that's because they're upstage due tonight. So all these people were eating their home bakes and having the raffle in the audience because there was nowhere else to go after they've got their raffle ticket. And I dragged on this enormous, it was enormous, this throne. It was not, I couldn't subtly bring it on. It was so obvious I was having struggles. And then I had to go back down. And collect the throne. And anyway, it was so obvious that I'd messed that up as well, that I was in the wrong place, that I got a huge round of applause. The audience started clapping because I was such a buffoon. And they got it. They just thought, who the cock is she? So to be honest with you, that anecdote brings us nicely to the end, and I hope that you're enjoying this. Listen, although my system is chaos, I'm getting through a few bits. So hopefully, I know, Zoe, I'm going to have to pull the camera out. I know a lot of you are worrying about the scale of this, and I'm too, to a point. But I will work out a way of how to make this fit the camera. I love you. Stand by for tomorrow's episode, everybody. I love you. Have a great night. Be safe. Bye.